just hear you guys right now saying, where the heck is that turkey? It's 3 minutes after 9 o'clock and he Gudday. Well, he is. Let me tell you what. First of all, let me say good morning and welcome. Yeah, good morning and welcome to the midweek edition of Gudday Grenada. I'm George Grant. 29th day of the month. I'll tell you what. We have been working on upgrading our system here. And I really intended to use this morning's program as a sort of test drive, if you will, okay, with the new system, the new software that we're using. Tried it up to about 2:30 this morning. It worked beautifully. And so what I did was I left it set up so that this morning I would just have to come sit here, and off we go. Well, apparently, if you set up that far in advance, it loses what's called a key. And that key happened to disappear. And of course, Georgie Porgy did not discover that until he went, all right? So then, Georgie Porgy has to go back to the old system and reset that. I just reset that in record time, Pilgrims, less than 3 minutes. And we're up, yeah, because I see you guys are there. So, Anthea wins this morning, by the way. Ryan is saying, you're not late. I am late. Margaret says, yeah, was wondering the same thing. Nearly had a panic attack. No, Mags, everything's okay. I'm just not going to set up that far in advance anymore. You know, I thought this would be so great because usually I wait until just before going on the air to do the setup. And this new system allows me to set up way in advance. Well, at least I thought so. So, lesson learned. Kipling is saying good morning to you guys. Anthea is saying, me too, Margaret. So that's two heart attacks this morning. Peter Bishop is also saying good morning. So is Grenada Sunshine. So yes, folks, I apologize for being a few minutes late, which means we're going to run a few minutes overtime this morning, but you guys are kind of used to that now, so please bear with me. Let we take a look at the rundown, see what mischief we're getting into this morning. First of all, about that plane load of Chinese visitors who arrived here early yesterday morning. Yeah. Well, I'm going to show you the post-cabinet briefing, that section of the post-cabinet briefing, which dealt with the coronavirus and the questions that were asked about that 2, 3 o'clock in the morning arrival by an aircraft from China. Yeah, that's what we're going to start with this morning. As a result, I think that piece runs about 23 minutes or so. So we are not going to bring you the national report this morning. Okay, no national report, even though I think it shows up there on the log. No, Gudday this morning. Then I'm going to bring you a short video. The coronavirus weighs heavily on the hearts of a lot of Grenadians right now. A lot of people are upset about what's happening, okay? So I thought, hey, let's do something a little bit lighthearted. And you notice here on the rundown it says, ever wish you had 3 legs? Yeah? Sherron goes, huh? Yeah, you're going to see a video this morning with a guy who supposedly has 3 legs. And then, as I mentioned, you know, she's back. Let me show, just to prove that she's back. Take a look. There's, you see colors. You see colors there this morning. Sherron is back. So, that is the lady we're going to be getting to in just a wee bit. But first, let's get down to some serious business, okay? At Tuesday's post-cabinet briefing, the government of Grenada addressed the coronavirus as well as concerns about the arrival in the wee hours of Tuesday morning of a chartered aircraft at the Maurice Bishop International Airport. From where? Beijing, China. Grenada Broadcast, because the post-cabinet briefing took place while we were on the air yesterday, I was not able to see that live as it happened. But I did go to the government's website and decided to download that file. I quickly noticed that the briefing was abbreviated. In other words, it was not there in its entirety, like, you know, from the start of the briefing until where it picked up on the file. I don't know what I missed, okay? But I want you to know that what you're going to see is the file, which is on the government website. As a public service, we're presenting the file as provided to the Grenadian public by the government of Grenada. There were 3 people on the panel, but only 2 of them were really involved in this particular issue surrounding the coronavirus. Health Minister Nicholas Steele and Dr. Sean Charles, who is an epidemiologist. Okay? Check this out.
This new virus that has recently emerged, like SARS, emerged from China, all right? There's a lot of concern about the virus because there's still a lot that is not known, all right? It is assumed that the disease might have originated from some species of animals and somehow made its way over into humans, and then from there, transmission from human to human has ensued. Now, since the end of December up till the 27th, which was yesterday, 2,801 confirmed cases have been identified and 8 deaths. 99% of these cases have been reported from China, and cases have also been recorded in 11 countries around the world. In our region of the Americas, so far there have been about 7 cases, 5 of those in the United States and 2 in Canada. What is encouraging so far is that there aren't reports of ongoing transmission in the countries where these diseases have been exported to. But we are still at early stages of this disease. And like I say, there are many things that still need to be understood about the infection.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Charles. I think before I go any further, maybe we can get some questions also from the press, either to Dr. Frederick or Dr. Charles.
Okay. Rena Pierre, GBN. A question, though as you said, the disease is in its early stage, is there any precautionary measures that is being taking place at our port of entries as it relates to the airport and cruise ship and stuff? We do have a lot of visitors coming in from the region. We're still in the peak of the tourism season, and we do have Chinese nationals here. So maybe some of them must have left for the New Year celebration coming back in.
Yeah, we have had a heightened level of surveillance at our ports, primarily Maurice Bishop International. That is monitoring all passengers coming off of all flights for any signs of the flu, primarily temperature, if they have a fever, primarily, but any other flu-like symptoms. That is done through video surveillance. Maurice Bishop International Airport, we have video surveillance that allows us to know the temperature of each person as they walk past the camera. And also with our nurses observing, and when necessary, they will approach passengers to take their temperature or whatever further examination they may see fit. So far, we have not had any passengers that have exhibited any signs that raises any level of concern. There is not the same level of surveillance at our cruise ship ports because the mere fact that the cruise ship industry as a whole treats their passengers getting on board a vessel and throughout their time on the vessel differently because of previous outbreaks of flus on cruise ships. So passengers are screened intensely and similarly before getting on a cruise ship, and then at the cruise ship they observe consistently the behaviors, etc., of passengers while on board. Also, that there hasn't been a declaration that there is an outbreak in any of the originating ports of cruise ships. So that is our level of heightened alert. That is what is prescribed at present. It is the same for most other communicable diseases that are airborne also, but we have increased that level to make sure that there is double coverage at Morris Bishop International.
One of the requirements made by Pan American Health Organization was to ensure that nurses or anyone within the hospitals to be up to date as it relates to the virus and ways in which they're treated. We have any of this here?
Yes, there is, and in fact, there's consistently training with dealing with airborne, but we have discussed and confirmed over the next couple of days, in fact, starting today, there will be reinforcement of the training, just as a precaution, reinforcement of the training.
Christelina, John, GPN, just to piggyback a bit on what Rena would have asked, how about protection for the health workers themselves? How are we dealing with that just in case that we might have, you know, some appearance, some semblance of this, you know, coming into our country? And two, there are reports of a chartered flight that came in sometime this morning with a group of Chinese nationals into the country. Can you clarify for us, please, Minister?
Okay, on the health workers, yes, the required protective suits and masks are in distribution at the relevant points. So it won't be at all of our health centers at present, but it would be at Morris Bishop International, and then here at the Ministry for quick response or dissemination throughout. We will begin, as of today, dissemination of masks to our various health centers, just as a precaution. There isn't any indication for otherwise, but just as a precaution to make the very health workers feel a little more comfortable that the masks are present, not that they would need to use it right now. And all flights, private or commercial, are monitored and screened. There was a private flight, because I've seen the rumors. I inquired and can assure you that that flight was met by healthcare workers, and everybody on board that flight was screened. And like all other passengers, where there is a point of origin close to China at this point in time, they're consistently monitored while they are here.
Can you clarify their purpose for coming in and where are they coming from exactly?
The flight originated, as far as I'm aware, in Beijing. It is a business. It is, I think, 8 passengers on it. And it's a private flight, so it didn't interact with other commercial passengers or at a commercial port where we would have seen the risk to be much higher. The Chinese officials are also ensuring nobody can leave China without screening as well, private or commercial. And then we also check on this end as well. So it's double coverage. The same with commercial flights. There is more of a risk when somebody travels on commercial flights, but there's screening at all ports when you leave as well as when you enter.
Sherron Noel, GIS. Minister, although a release was issued yesterday, I think most Grenadians are interested in the well-being of the students. We know that there are students in the province where the virus is. What update can you give in terms of assurance that the students are being taken care of and they are safe?
Our students are being communicated to by the embassy. I know I've seen certain posts on social media that that's not the case, but I'm also seeing the reports from the ambassador that that is the case. that they are being communicated to, and as I said last night on an interview, if there's any student that hasn't been or feels that they need to be contacted a little further, there are numbers and ways. The social media communication in China is a bit different. The situation in China is chaotic in those cities, Wuhan in particular. It is chaotic. The city is on lockdown. The safest and best thing for our students to do is the same thing that is the safest and best thing for the Chinese citizens to do. Stay indoors, stay put. Travel is where the risk. Travel and large associations or getting together in large groups, whether it is at bus stations, train stations, airports, or parties or whatever, all of that has been cancelled. If our students were to try to transit out now, they would be put at greater risk. At this point in time, it is the same for all, whether you are Grenadian, whether you are Chinese, whether you are American, whether you are British, it is to stay put. The city is quarantined. Anybody trying to move, say from Wuhan to Beijing, would put themselves at risk and those in Beijing at risk as well. So that is the reality of the situation right now. So we are in constant communication, and as the release has shown, the Chinese government remains willing and able to assist wherever possible. But it is a unique situation on the ground. So constant communication is, I think, what is essential in this instance.
I just want to add here that the reason I was late was just coming from a meeting that the Prime Minister had with the Chinese ambassador, actually. And this, of course, the coronavirus outbreak was one of the subjects of that discussion. Our students are okay as of now. And basically, the ambassador would have reinforced the points that have already been made. The cities are on lockdown. The students that are there, they simply have to stay just as the advice is being given to others. So it is not recommended that they leave at all at this point. And the Chinese government has said that it is sending in additional medical teams to Wuhan in particular to help control the outbreak.
Just a final part to the question, and in terms of the communication between parents and guardians.
That I'm not aware of directly. I know that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Ministry of Education have been reaching out to parents and guardians. I would just say that if there are any parents or guardians or family members that feel that they are in a void of information, please contact us. Please feel free to contact us. Ministry of Education, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, or GIS. So that we can provide relevant information, or if they have additional information that they believe we may not have, please feel free to share that as well with us.
Good morning, Callistra Faria. Dr. Charles, Jean Charles, with the virus, with all of the stringent screening at the ports of entry, can you tell me what level of risk still exists for transfer of the virus into a new territory based on the fact that these things have an incubation period? So you've gone through a battery of checks in China, you get on a plane, or a battery of checks in the UK at Heathrow, wherever, and you get on a plane. What is the risk to Grenada at that point, given, is there no risk at all, a lot of risk? Give me an assessment of the situation, please.
All right. I remember one of the things I said was that a lot is not known about the disease. WHO has quantified the risk for China and for the region and for the rest of the world. The risk in China is high. The risk for the immediate region around China, the risk in China is very high. The risk for the immediate region, the Asian region, is high. And for the rest of the world, there's a moderate risk. But there's a lot that is not known, all right? We still have to define how transmissible is a virus. We have established that there is transmission ongoing human to human, but we know that it's generally among close contacts. However, as the condition unfolds, one of the things that needs to be determined is how transmissible, all right? And that will determine how easily spread. So, for example, if it is discovered that a person incubating the virus, even before showing symptoms, is able to, if it is formally established that that person, even before showing any symptoms, can transmit the disease, similar to, let's say, measles, all right, then that it's something quite different, because someone can go through the screening not having any symptoms and be able to still transmit the disease. So a lot is not known, and it will be very difficult to quantify the exact risk. What I can tell you is, in the Caribbean region, no cases have been identified. All right. So the risk for us at present would be not very high.
So because of how little we do know about how the virus behaves, it could be quite possible that allowing persons to land, for instance, Beijing, they have reported a death in Beijing. So it's actually getting out of Wuhan based on reports from international news agencies and so. So that because we don't understand how the virus, it is possible, it is a possibility that it can, we can be affected, that a plane load of people, for instance, landing at Morris Bishop at 2 a.m. in the morning and appearing healthy, passing the test, can still put us at risk. Is there any risk at all?
My answer to that would be yes, in the same way a plane load from the UK, a plane load from Canada, and a plane load from the US. That the virus exists in those countries as well. So yes, so as Dr. Charles says, there's a lot we don't know, but we do know how to determine, in most cases, the level of risk. But this is developing as we speak, but one can determine the level of risk and the protocols to be taken. And those protocols are being taken, which is why right now, Grenada, as well as all of the Caribbean and the rest of the world, has not shut down and closed all borders. If that is a directive, then that most definitely, we would not hesitate to take that action if that is the recommended action. Right now, that is not the recommended action to be taken by the world, not just by Grenada, by the world. This is not something unique to Grenada that we must write a playbook on our own. This is an international agenda or issue. It is an international threat. Grenada is a member of Pan American Health Organization and the World Health Organization, and our participation, active participation. In fact, at 12:30 we will have another. We've had daily meetings with Pan American Health Organization, and we will have another one today, as we have had all of last week with all of our Caribbean associates as well. And we continue to monitor the situation. We continue to exchange information. We knew of that flight coming probably about 2 or 3 days ago, and we checked and confirmed and discussed with Pan American Health Organization as to any risk or the level of risk involved there. And we got a concerted answer and response from them. There is higher or just as much risk of someone transiting through one of the major international ports as there is from somebody being checked and confirmed. It's isolation. The less circulation an individual has, the better for them. Whether they're in Wuhan, whether they're in Grenada, or whether they're in Washington State or Toronto, is the less circulation. The more that somebody circulates, so if individuals have been isolated and traveled privately, if individuals have been in the UK or New York or so, they are not at risk. So the situation is similar. It was determined and with coordination with Pan American Health Organization in terms of any risk levels.
Any particular reason why the flight came in at that particular hour? I understand it came in at 2 a.m. Is that information correct? And any particular reason?
It's a long flight time. It left probably at 2 p.m. in Beijing time, and it is quite a long time to get from Grenada to Beijing or Beijing to Grenada. No, it wasn't in any effort to hide their presence or so. There are private aircraft that land at that time otherwise, or so based on private aircraft schedule. That is not a time for commercial airlines because we conveniently organize the arrival time for commercial airlines. But that was not out of the ordinary and wasn't in any effort to mask because we were notified in advance and made all of our preparations in advance.
My final question, the stock of pneumonia medicine for treating pneumonia and other bronchial situations. How are we at the hospital? Because I know we had an issue which was confirmed that we were out of pneumonia medicine at one point sometime last year in flu season for bronchial infections and those respiratory problems and so on.
We don't have any confirmation of that, and I would like you to share with us this confirmation you have.
Minister, I'd be
Because
happy
that would
to,
be
I'd be
seen
happy
as
to
a-
chat with you after the news
No,
conference.
you made it public. You made a public statement, and as a responsible journalist, you need to be able to show the confirmation that you got.
As a responsible journalist, I will put the information in the
But
story I write. That's
Dr.
where
Sherron
I
will
put my
answer you
information.
on the level of medication.
Right. So pneumonia is an infection in the lung, and there can be different causes. So there isn't a single treatment for pneumonia. Pneumonia that are caused by bacteria are treated by antibiotics. Those that are are caused by fungus are treated by antifungi, and those that are caused by viruses are treated by antiviral medication. All right. So at any one time and from patient to patient, the treatment will vary.
So not to hold the news conference, but could you speak to the antiviral ones, because I understand that antibacterial treatments may not necessarily work with complications and developments from the coronavirus. So do we have what we need in terms of those particular medications if people become infected?
There is no identified medication for this strain of the coronavirus.
For treating pneumonia
the
or
strain.
bronchial infections.
Well,
Like
like I said, it would all depend on the cause. So if it's bacterial, I mean, we have antibiotics. I'm not aware that we've run out of antibiotics at all. All right, so it depends on the treatment. As Minister mentioned, this present coronavirus and for the majority of viral infections such as the flu and common cold and so on, there is no specific treatment. All right, there is no specific treatment. This present coronavirus, there is no vaccine, there is no treatment. The treatment is supportive. All right, so someone, if they're severely ill, they will be admitted. If their illness progresses to the point where they require respiratory support, then they will be treated in ICU, ventilated, and so on. But there is no specific drug to treat it.
I wasn't asking about treating the corona. I'm well aware of that situation.
Calistro, I think you've had sufficient questions for now. Let's see if there are others in the room who have any additional questions.
I have additional questions, but I don't know if Minister would be speaking on other areas of health, or should I just go to it? Okay, so my other question is in relation to the latest development that we have had with this young man named Akim Andrew, who would have infiltrated the system and was able to, you may say, perform duties of a doctor. How concerned are you as health minister, and how easy it is for someone to penetrate the system? And are you, perhaps, say, concerned of other cases that might be existing that we're not aware of?
The licensing authority and enforcement agency for medical and dental practitioners is the Grenada Medical and Dental Committee, Council, sorry. They're the ones responsible. It's independent of the Ministry of Health. The chief medical officer is a member of that council. They're the ones that will check individuals for the validity of their license, etc. Now, somebody coming up and pretending just on his own that they are a medical practitioner, now it would be for police, members of the public, or Ministry of Health to be able to see that an office has opened or somebody is moonlighting. We are aware of the facts, and based on the facts, we have a level of concern and have made efforts to contact all of the individuals who may have been dealt with by this individual, just to check on them. And that is the level. The Ministry of Health is not the enforcer. We are there for public health, and even our doctors must clear with the Grenada Medical and Dental Council, must be approved by the Grenada Medical and Dental Council. So it is them that are responsible for that. That's not passing the buck or so. Somebody wanting to pretend to be a policeman, to pretend to be a doctor, pretend to be a journalist, it's still among the peers for self-enforcement or members of the public to question the qualifications of the individual.
Are they the ones?
If I might add, the list of registered doctors in Grenada was recently gazetted. So you can just check from there.
So how regular are reviews conducted, if you can answer to this? And why is it only the Gazette? Because not everybody that really would say have access to a newspaper, so to know when that list is really established.
Well, speaking as a doctor, when your license is renewed depends on when, on the date that you fulfill all the requirements of a licensure. All right. So each doctor has a different date, and that fulfillment is with the Medical and Dental Council. I believe the license is renewed every 2 years or maybe every 3 years. All right, and you must present evidence of continuing education and pay the requisite fees and so on.
Alrighty, folks, there you go. Now, I am not at all surprised that a number of you were agitated by what you just saw and heard. Well, let me tell you something. You are not alone. I'm about to read some comments which I took off the site after I published that piece yesterday, and from some other social media sites. Roger Mitchell said, "So you don't know anything about the virus, but you still went and exposed the people to a new batch of Chinese coming from a known infected area? Very smart, Mr. Health Minister." Enid said, "I'm a little bit worried. Does Grenada have labs that test for disease? Because even if Toronto has labs that do testing for the virus, they still send it to Winnipeg for secondary confirmation. And my main concern about the plane that came with the Chinese nationals is that maybe they didn't show symptoms today." That's yesterday, obviously. "But tomorrow or days later, what would happen? How would you contain them from the public?" So says Enid. Evelyn Edwards said, "Enid, that plane should have never been allowed to land. That is very irresponsible, since Grenada cannot handle a crisis like that. 106 people have already died from this in China." By the way, the last I heard overnight was 131. It's no longer 106. Anyhow, she says all masks are sold out in Toronto. Saw that on CBC last night as well. Jean Wilson says, "Why is it racist to use common sense and restrict flights from Canada, from the country where the virus originated and where even the government of China is putting travel restrictions on people? Those who use the race card in such situations need to reevaluate their perception of racism." Now, let me get to our social media here this morning. Ryan says, "Mr. Steele did not mention about the quarantine. And to which Harry responded, no, Harry says here, exactly so. What is the incubation period? Ebony Spice, to whom he's speaking, says 2 weeks. Brian Samuel says, shouldn't any minister of health actually know something about health? Yes, Brian. Margaret Francis responds here, incubation period said to be 3 days. Wendy King, you hear that noise out there? They're coming to take me away. Ebony King says that Ebony Spice says the incubation period is up to 14 days. Tessa Barry said, the World Health Organization recently indicated a change in the risk to the rest of the world. They said they made a mistake. Oy, 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 Tessa, thanks for the bad news. Anthea Rello said this, she said, I heard this morning in the news here in Atlanta that a group of Americans left China today and were flown to a military base where they would be held in quarantine for 3 days. Ryan says the epidemiologist's presentation is lucid. Okay. Brother Fletcher says an American flight came in. They flying them all the way to a remote military base, all the way in Alaska. Ooh, that's far. Samantha McFarland says, what not high is this man? I'm not sure what you're saying, Samantha. Try again. Ebony Spice says, so America quarantined passengers and Grenada screening? Tessa Barry says, so Mr. Steele, can we make an independent assessment and take a decision on our own for the peace of mind of our people? Margaret says, the flight, I guess that's the one somebody spoke about just a minute ago, the flight stopped in Alaska to refuel and then heads to California where they will be quarantined for 3 days before being sent on their way. John Franco says, only poor people are quarantined. The money givers are monitored. John. Dexter Miller says, all the major airlines are canceling their flights. Anthea says, somehow I get the feeling that the minister is talking, but saying anything. Or did you mean nothing, Anthea? Why all the reference to all these other countries? He's not assuring me, given the state of health affairs in Grenada. Dexter says, it's very disturbing to see the minister sugarcoating a serious issue like this. And he goes on to say, we're taking our deaths like sheep. Whew. Margaret, there is really no need for the minister to get testy. This is the part with Calistropharia. She goes on to say, there are medical shortages all the time, even in developed countries. All he needed to do was just reassure people that there are drugs to treat patients. Ryan says Minister Steele is getting hot and irate, while the MD is lucid and calm, giving us health education. Now PM Press Secretary cuts off Calistropharia. Yeah. Margaret says, yeah, it may be gazetted, but is the government gazette readily available? Margaret, I think that's the least read publication in this country. Let me see here, I'm scrolling now. Kipling says, don't blame the minister, please. He holds this post because he is the most equipped in giving misleading information. Anthea Rollo says, Health Minister Steele is playing with... No. She says, tell me about it. They were not convincing at all. Ryan Jabon says, Minister Steele is playing with fire. Finally, Dexter says, there are no meaningful discussions at the governmental level. It's not only Chinese nationals that are carriers. China is a major trading hub. Okay, folks, boy, that was a mouthful there. Oh, let me give Sherron, I never even gave Sherron a microphone here this morning. Let me tell you, boy, there are a lot of other comments saying a lot, but it would take me the rest of the day to be able to share them all with you. And I'd rather spend some time this morning getting into more of a discussion with Ma Pudna. There she is, Ma Pudna. Good morning, girl.
Good morning.
How you doing?
I am so good.
Yeah, you told me that she came in here beaming because she doesn't have any pain. You know, she's been having this back issue.
Yeah. Today is day 3 of no pain.
No pain.
No pain whatsoever.
God is good, girl. God
Amen.
is good. Yeah. Sharon, you've been listening to all this talk about the coronavirus. Where do you stand on this?
Boy, yesterday I went into town, which is very, very rare. And I went into a bookshop and I thought, let me pick up some spices to send for my children in Belize because they like Moby and stuff. And you should see the amount of Chinese in there. And one of them asking the a lady behind the counter, he want 100 bottles of disinfectant.
100 bottles of disinfectant.
100 bottles. So the lady's saying, you mean 10, not 100. He said, no, 100. And he take out $100 and he showed a 100 bottles of disinfectant. So people started to like move away and look at them. And then I went over to the other side to cash. And there's a room in there that maybe is a storeroom. And these Chinese people went and they were counting in 3 trolleys 100 bottles of disinfectant. So I said to my nephew, I said, look, we had a baby with us. I said, go to the car with this child because we don't need them inside here. And people were scared. When they came to the line, you could see people moving out of the way to almost put them in front of them to get out at the store. I mean, 3 trolleys filled with disinfectant. One of my more morbid nephew who was there said, what does one do with all that disinfectant other than make a bomb? I said, well, I don't know.
You can make bombs with disinfectant?
I don't have a clue.
Oh, okay.
So I thought they're going and wash down the embassy because of the people who came in under the shadow of darkness.
Yeah. That is a big issue, eh? I mean, this is all over the place all day yesterday and again this morning.
Yeah. It's scary. It's scary because when you listen to the news and you hear the amount of people dying, when you look at the population of Grenada, that's a lot of people. So if I've seen some discussions about in the days when the Europeans came and they brought whatever sickness that eliminated the natives so they could take over. And then you sit and you wonder, and I said, boy, it's a good thing I hardly leave my house. Sometimes the only place I go for the week is here.
You know, Sharon, I'm sure you're aware by now, having heard a lot of the discussion going on in social media, the concern seems to be, why would we be allowing people in from an infected area when even China is quarantining its people?
Exactly. My question is, I had a minister say that they left there at 4 something. From the international news tell you that the Prime Minister of China or the President, whatever it is they have there, put a ban on anybody leaving the country from early the morning, yesterday or the day before. Today is what? Today is Wednesday. Since Monday, there was a ban on them leaving the country. So why were they allowed to leave? And why are they coming here? Under the shadow of darkness. Don't tell me no rubbish about because they leave that time, they have to arrive this time. That's big BS. So what are they up to?
Somebody raised a point with me yesterday, saying, the person said to me, George, I'm sure the Grenadian government wanted to say no to this. If they really care about us, they would want, they would want to say no to allowing the airplane to land. However, Sherron, when you are as indebted, this is what he was pointing out to me, when you are as indebted to a country like China, as we are, how do you say no?
What did the minister say some time ago? Bite in the hand that feed you.
Yeah.
How are you going to say no to the hand that's feeding you?
Yeah. Ain't that pathetic?
It is. And now you're talking about independence in the which pendants?
The one on February 7th, next week Friday.
Unless they're talking about a pig pen dance, a pen dance.
Pen dance.
It can be.
I like that one.
I mean, it's ridiculous. You say you're independent. You're having big celebration next week. Is next week? Next week on Friday.
Next Friday.
And this is what's happening in your country? You have to take a set of diseased people because you can't say no to them because you owe them so much?
I guess, I don't know, whatever happened to...
I mean, we get
what kind of diplomacy is that?
We get it in a... Every day it gets worse. Sometimes I said it's sad, but we had to find a new word. It's pathetic. It's past sad.
Ryan says, Sherron, you could have been exposed to the virus in droplet form, being inspired in your air, shared with the 100 bottles of disinfectant.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, please, don't sneeze in my direction, let alone cough, okay?
It's sick.
Yeah.
And all over town yesterday, every time you look, you see.
Yeah. Scary stuff. Margaret Francis says, read the coronavirus response. The difference between Jamaica and Grenada tells a story. Just compare the two Ministry of Health websites.
Exactly.
There was a word out that there was a suspected case in Jamaica as well.
I didn't hear that.
I did hear that yesterday, but I'm not sure. I haven't seen any verification or, quelling of that. But
I heard, and this is on the lighter side, that Margaret's president stopped the import of Corona beer from Mexico because he don't want the virus spreading.
Margaret, I wouldn't take that if I had a piece of lip. Why did she have to say your president, Margaret? Why did she have to say it?
Because I know Margs could take it. I don't want to call nobody else's name for them
Well, let
to
me
sue
tell you
me.
what. I want to guarantee you one thing. Any moment now, there is going to be a response coming up here.
Oh, yes.
Any moment, there's going to be a response coming up here. In a little while, something you heard about this earthquake yesterday?
Yes, actually, this morning, in the case of a disaster, in the event that there's a disaster, in Grenada, we have a group of people called Surges, and I am a member I'm one of the Surges for Grenada, headed by the USAID, and this morning sent out a circular to schools asking them to please update their disaster preparedness and letting them know what happened in Jamaica. And I saw some footage from Jamaica that was quite frightening, and the answer is yes, they're from Jamaica. And I spoke with the head of the surgeons. Her name is Audrey Mullins. She works with OFDA and she's based in Jamaica, but she is responsible for Grenada. And she said that a number of school children yesterday were taken to the emergency because of panic attack during the earthquake. So just be on your alert.
Somebody sent me some videos that were taken during the earthquake.
Right.
Scary, scary stuff. Now,
Yes.
I programmed those videos into the system that I had planned on using this morning and didn't program them into the system that we are using.
Right.
So I'm not able to run those. But what I'm going to do is a little later on, I'm going to put those up on the web page that you're on right now, so you'll be able to see them. Margaret says, yes, there were reports of there being a case in Jamaica, but it has been discounted.
Okay, she's
Okay.
talking about the virus.
Yeah. She always says, she's laughing here. She says, yeah, Sherron, I must have done something really bad to be saddled with that buffoon.
But this is somewhere in my youth or childhood.
She's the second person I've heard refer to the Don as a buffoon. You know, this is Alan's pet name for him. Fitzroy Adams says, Sherron, this is the right time to be in Petit Martinique to celebrate
Yes.
independence.
Yes.
So you going up?
I am thinking of it,
Yeah.
even if it's just for the day, for the celebrations and come back.
Yeah, okay, okay. All right, my dear, so, let's pray that this thing stays away from us, eh? I think it's, even if it does, I think the people of this country have been insulted. They've been hurt by what transpired yesterday morning.
But you know what gets me angry? In an election year, they soon forget that and put them right back there.
Yeah.
That's a sickening thing. You hear people complaining about what is being done.
Yeah.
Lots of people who I know are supporters and they're saying, boy, I tired with this, I fed up with that. And as soon as, instead of changing things, they come back and play
Same old, same old.
same old, same old. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But, so therefore, it's one thing to be pointing fingers at the administration, but I think the people have a lot of the blame to shoulder.
I still think that if the election, so a lot of times when you say people put them back there, my question is, did they really?
That's valid point,
Yeah.
point. I was going in that direction, valid. Yeah. Did they really? The electoral process has become so questionable
Exactly.
in this place nowadays. People don't have the confidence in going to the polls anymore.
One thing I could see for this government, when I was coordinator for Petit Martinique Affairs and that election, when people saying, oh, they're giving away jerseys with 20 US and 100 US in it, that didn't happen in Petit Martinique, not under my watch. And I think it's one of the reasons they know me better than to have done that. And two, I don't know if that might have been a propaganda, because I have never seen a jersey with money in it, and I know that nobody bought any votes in Petit Martinique during that time, during my time. And one of the reasons I got upset with them and had to and moved back to Grenada is they said that Sherron is too fair. And if you speak to anybody in Petit Martinique now, they will tell you one of the most straightforward people that they know is me. I call a spade, and I don't care if you want to be called a fork, you'll be called a spade.
Yes. All right, Sharon, all right. Now, I had promised our audience that I would show them a little laughter. We've been talking heavy stuff this morning. One, the earthquake, and two, the coronavirus. And I thought somewhere in there, we got to get a little humor.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's something I wanted to show, and let me make sure, boy, oh my God. Yes. I do have it on this system as well. Imagine you're walking down the street. You see a guy sitting on the side of the street with 3 legs. What would you do?
With 3 legs?
3 legs, you heard me, 3 legs.
I would keep walking.
Maybe walk a little faster. Sherron, somebody sent me this video a couple of days ago, and I just thought, wow, I got to share this with our viewers. And I want you, there's no talking in this video, right? I want you to just keep an eye on the expressions of the people who are looking at this guy with 3 legs. Check it out.
Excuse me, ma'am. Could you give me a hand, please? I just get so weak bones. Thank you. Thank you very much. You just help me with. Yeah, just careful. I have a very bad bones, you know. It's okay. Thank you very much, sir. This one?
This is you're running for the 30 bus?
Yes, I was running for the 30 bus, but I missed it.
Yeah, but there's 2 buses. One only to Tokyo town, and the other one goes way out.
Way to Tokyo?
Yeah.
From here?
Yeah, from here.
And he gets 3 legs, but I still miss the bus. Dog, he was looking at my legs. Thank you so much for watching this video.
Mama.
Don't forget to subscribe. Press the bell, post notifications. Love you guys. Bye-bye.
Kind of insane, eh? Kind of insane, Sherron? Yeah.
Crazy.
Three ways, but you never know, you never know. All right, my dear, this is where we're going to kind of pull it down this morning. At least we had a little chuckle, a little bit of everything. So you may be going up to Petit Martinique, and I just want to give our viewers a heads up. I think many of you are aware by now that Black History Month is going to be commemorated during the month of February, okay? And I hope she doesn't mind me doing this, but our dear friend out there, Margaret Francis, Mags, if you will. Mags has been working really hard at doing something to sort of celebrate blacks in the Caribbean, our people who have left their mark. And she has been busy at work doing a series which you are going to see right here on Grenada Broadcast. These are each about a minute and a half long, and you know, she pays tribute to people like Dame Hilda Bino, Canute Caliste out there in the Carriacou, and a whole lot of other people. We're going to start running those for you on Monday. And let me tell you, I am very impressed with the work that she has done. And I'm sure that when you see that series, you too will be. She's already sent me, I think, 6 of those pieces. I could give you a sneak preview, but I won't. I want to keep you in suspense. So be sure to join us on Monday morning for the first edition as she pays tribute to our people. You know, Black History Month is something which I imagine is commemorated around the world. If maybe just the United States, Canada, I don't know, but she is paying very special attention to we people, okay? And I salute you, Megs. She's done a wonderful job thus far. Okay. Sherron, thanks a lot, precious. You're good?
Okay, I'm good.
You're good. All right, my dear friends, as we depart this morning, let's see here. Claude Putner says, good morning to you, Mr. Grant, and my your adaptive mom?
Sure.
Adoptive mom.
Yeah.
You are special. Sorry for being so late, Mr. Grant. Did you remember when the minister said you do? Okay, Clyde, take it easy. Pilgrim's parting word from the Holy Scriptures, Psalm 34, verses 12 to 17. Whoever of you loves life and desires to see many good days, keep your tongue from evil and your lips from telling lies. Turn from evil and do good. Seek peace and pursue it. The eyes of the Lord are on the righteous, and his ears are attentive to their cry. But the face of the Lord is against those who do evil, to blot out their name from the earth. The righteous cry out, and the Lord hears them. He delivers them from all their troubles. Ain't that comforting? Ain't that comforting? If you wish to check it out on your own, Psalm 34, verses 12 to 17. Okie dokie. On that note, Georgie Porgy is going to take a little break here. Not a little break. Georgie Porgy's going to go. You have a great day, and by God's grace. Let's get together again tomorrow morning.